I was going to give my wife who was in another place a surprise. When I opened her door with a gift and flowers in my hand, I found another man lying on the bed. She warned me without any guilt not to mess around. It was illegal to hit someone. Fortunately, she knew a little about the law. I suddenly laughed and was not very sad. Is it wrong for her to pursue free love? What's wrong? She chose to indulge after marrying me. I have a video as evidence. There is no loss in divorce. Love only exists in fairy tales. In reality, it's better to forget it. When I opened the door, she saw another man on Liu Ruyan's bed and couldn't react for a while. The gift prepared in advance, holding flowers in my hand, fell to the ground weakly. The young man was busy putting on his clothes, and his hurried appearance was very embarrassed. I was speechless and frowned at Liu Ruyan's inquiring eyes, wanting an explanation. Suddenly coming over, why didn't I say hello? His expression was very calm, and he blamed me a little, saying that if I had prepared in advance, we wouldn't be so embarrassed. Do I need to notify my wife in advance to see her? Today is the night of the Chinese Valentine's Day. I just want to give her a surprise. I never thought that I would be cuckolded and caught in bed. Taking a deep breath, I asked in a low voice, "What are you going to do now?" As soon as I finished speaking, I felt a little ridiculous. What should I do? No matter what, I can't forgive cheating. When I looked at Qinglian, I couldn't help but clench my fists. The emotions in my heart needed to be vented urgently. Liu Ruyan frowned and warned me, Jiang Chun, that it is illegal to hit someone. I admit that I made a mistake and I will take it on myself. Don't involve him in our affairs. After that, he helped the young man put on his coat and buttoned it and said softly, "It's okay, don't worry, he won't mess around. It's troublesome for you to be here. Go back first, I'll find you later." 13. The young man looked at me warily, then bowed his head and said to Liu Ruyan, "Call me if you have any problems. If he dares to mess around, we will call the police." Seeing this, I suddenly laughed. It turns out that as a husband I am an outsider. A bitter feeling of powerlessness filled my heart. I didn't feel so tired even after driving for 9 hours today. Liu Ruyan asked me to wait and sent the young man downstairs. About 10 minutes later, he came back and sat on the sofa. Liu Ruyan lit a thin cigarette and exhaled a puff of smoke. "Let's talk. When did it start?" I asked in a deep voice. "It's been half a year." Speaking of their love story, Liu Ruyan's mouth corners curled up slightly, and a strange look appeared in her eyes. But when I was mentioned, all these expressions disappeared. "Jiang Chun, in fact we have no feelings for each other for a long time." Hearing this, I couldn't help but think of the carefully prepared gifts and the flowers scattered on the ground. If there was no love, why would I do all this? Why would I take leave and drive so far? My fists clenched subconsciously, and my nails dug into my palms, causing a tingling pain. Being separated from each other, isn't it tiring? Liu Ruyan looked at me and said, "I'm already very tired just by maintaining the surface. Let's stop here to avoid embarrassing each other. Let's divorce." These 3 short words hit my heart hard and also crushed the feelings of these years. Having said this, Liu Ruyan said no more, stood up and said, "Think about it carefully, don't delay it for too long. It's good for both of us to divorce as soon as possible." After that, he picked up his bag and went out. I know that he came back just to perfunctorily deal with me, and was ready to find that young man. Today is the Chinese Valentine's Day, a festival of love. After the sound of a door closing, the room fell into silence. I looked around the room. This was Liu Ruyan's home. There were traces of her life everywhere, but there was nothing about me. The gifts I sent were all piled up in the grocery room. They didn't even qualify to be displayed. I looked around the room. This was Liu Ruyan's home. There were traces of her life everywhere, but there was nothing about me. The gifts I sent were all piled up in the grocery room. They didn't even qualify to be displayed. I took off the micro camera on my collar and stopped recording. I wanted to record Liu Ruyan's reaction when she surprised me as a souvenir, but I didn't expect to record evidence of her cheating during marriage. The whole sentence may be that everything is destined. The truth will be exposed sooner or later, or if Liu Ruyan hides it well, she can deceive me until divorce. Rather than being so unclear, I would rather divorce clearly, just like now. Liu Ruyan and I are separated, which actually started last year. At that time, he was transferred to this city for work. Before leaving, Liu Ruyan asked me worriedly whether I would find another woman while he was away. I smiled and coaxed him for a long time, giving him all kinds of assurances that I would come to see him as long as I was free. At the same time, I also encouraged him to be mentally prepared for a new job and a new life. Although I don't really believe in long-distance relationships and feel uneasy, how can I bear to let Liu Ruyan give up the career she loves? I fulfilled my promise faithfully, rushing back and forth between the 2 cities every weekend, rain or shine, but later, the frequency of this gradually decreased, and Liu Ruyan said that she hoped I could have a good rest. Now it seems that it is not care but alienation. I think I really need a rest. It's too tiring to be separated from each other. Liu Ruyan is very tired, and I am exhausted because of various things. I have to deal with all the big and small things in both families, but after a busy day at work, I can only return to the empty home alone. Don't men need someone to rely on? I sincerely hope that someone can keep a light on for me at home. I have never complained to Liu Ruyan about these things, but now she tells me that it is tiring to be apart, and there is no feeling between us. I smiled self-deprecatingly. If it wasn't for love, why should I do this? I can't say what's in my heart. The feeling is extremely complicated. Not just sadness but more of sorrow. There is a photo frame on the coffee table, and in the photo frame is a photo of Liu Ruyan. This is a solo photo, only her but not me. Maybe I have been excluded by her a long time ago, but I just didn't notice it. Finally, she took a look at me, stood up and left Liu Ruyan's house driving fast on the highway. I returned to my own city overnight, in a hurry as if I was running away. At about 2 a.m. I finally drove back to my community. The long drive made me very tired. I pushed the door and got out of the car, ready to go home. This is Liu Ruyan and I's wedding room. All the decoration was designed by us together. However, she was transferred to another city not long after living there. Now I have my own home. After pushing the door open and taking off my coat, I sat on the sofa in a daze, wondering what I should do in the future. For a moment I seemed to have lost all my goals. The rest of my life that I had originally planned for has now left me. Suddenly the phone rang. It was Liu Ruyan calling. After hesitating for a while, I still pressed the answer button. Liu Ruyan's silent voice came from the receiver saying, "Are you rushing back so late? You're really not tired. Don't you understand how it is possible to not be tired to run a hotel? You're tired physically and mentally even more." I remained silent. She then said, "Don't tell your parents about our affairs first. Wait. I'll find time to go back and we'll talk it over." Since she was transferred, Liu Ruyan only came back during the Chinese New Year. I would always silently hope that she would want to come back to see me, stroll around the streets we visited, and go to the park near my home. But I never thought about it. The only exception was that he wanted to come to talk about marriage. I hung up the phone with a bitter heart. I tried my best to calm down, take a shower and lie on the bed, staring at the wedding photo on the wall. I was lost in thought all night. When it was dawn I took it down, carefully packed it up, and put it in the grocery room. I did what I promised and didn't mention anything about Liu Ruyan and me to anyone. I went to work, went home, ate and slept normally, as if what happened on the night of the Chinese Valentine's Day had never happened. Something was wrong but it still had some impact. I wouldn't take the initiative again and sent Liu Ruyan a message of concern. He never contacted me again. Our already distant relationship became more like strangers. In the seemingly normal days I controlled I can't stop recalling. In fact, Liu Ruyan said a lot to me that night. I was so distracted at that time that I couldn't hear clearly. But these memories were engraved in my heart. When I think back to it later, every word is so clear, one after another, it's deafening. Jiang Chun, do you know what's the most important thing in a relationship? I feel like the way you give me has changed. You're not like a lover at all. Do you understand? You're old-fashioned and worldly, and you don't understand romance at all. This is really boring. What we women need is not only how mature a man is, but also the right amount of childishness to provide more interest. Zhao Shuo is very special. He can satisfy all my fetishes but you can't, absolutely not. When I calm down and look at Liu Ruyan's words again, he is indeed right. We don't get along like lovers at all. I can only guess his current life from the words between the lines of the chat software, but I'm not qualified to know the whole picture. In this way, of course, I can't say he was very considerate and caring, and he never thought about life problems from my perspective. I am old-fashioned because my family needs stability and doesn't allow me to take risks. I am worldly because the pressure of life requires me to learn to be thrifty. Liu Ruyan can leave and pursue the career he loves, but I have to stay here and take on car loans, mortgages, and various insurances from both sides of my parents. I never mentioned these things to him. I thought that if I carried the burden forward, I could make the other person live an easy and happy life, but I didn't expect that such efforts would make us alienated. Perhaps only by facing the pressure together can we have the motivation to go on for a longer time. But I was wrong. I spoiled Liu Ruyan. Even when facing his accusations against me, I never refuted a word and was too lazy to even explain. Love is the best filter in the world. If someone loves you, then whatever you do is right. If he doesn't love you anymore, then no matter how much you say, it will be useless. It has some effect. There are many decorative ornaments in the house, all of which were made by Liu Ruyan and I, carrying the beautiful memories of our passionate love period. At that time, he liked to make handmade works. When he saw the stalls on the roadside, he couldn't help but pull me to sit down and work on mud painting and hand-painted plaster. Liu Ruyan is very skillful and always makes it very delicate, but I can't do it. I can only make a rough outline and then give it to him for refinement. Therefore, he often laughed at me, asking why I couldn't learn it. We have made a lot of them. Yes, why couldn't I learn to respond to his preferences? It's because the conditions don't allow it. When I pick up a handmade product, the scene at that time emerges in my mind. I wipe it carefully, as if reliving the happiness we had at that time, and then put it in the box as if sealing the memory. I spent a whole day cleaning the whole house. After that, the house became empty, just as my heart was missing a lot of things. Isn't this also a kind of escape? I dared to recall again and tried not to think about Liu Ruyan. I just hoped that I could get over it as soon as possible. After all, life is long. I can't trap myself for the rest of my life because of a failed marriage. Adults can't live without each other. The next day, I packed up all of Liu Ruyan's things and called a moving company to deliver them to her current address. Probably when the things arrived at night, Liu Ruyan called me and asked, "Jiang Chun, what do you mean?" Facing the question, I was a little confused. What's wrong? Are you angry with me? Are you trying to embarrass me? Her tone was very bad. There are so many things and it's so late. How can I make room? It's a mess. You're causing trouble for me, right? My work is very busy and my life is very tiring. I don't have time to chat with you. I think it's ridiculous. I hung up the phone directly and didn't bother to say a word. No matter how he looks at me, suspicion, contempt, complaining about work and life, isn't all this my own choice? In fact, Liu Ruyan had two choices at the beginning. Stay in the original position and live the original life, or go to the new branch of the company and have the possibility of winning a high position. He chose the latter, so he stopped asking about anything at home and left it all to me to deal with. Now it seems that he is quite selfish. It's just that love blinded my eyes and made me ignore the unfairness in this relationship. After letting it go, I saw it clearly. 2 weeks have passed since the meeting on Valentine's Day. Liu Ruyan picked the weekend to come back. He was impatient and rang the doorbell wildly. Zhao Shua at the side comforted her softly. When I saw this scene through the video doorbell, I couldn't help but feel a little surprised. Bringing the current boyfriend to talk about divorce with the current husband? It's too ostentatious and ridiculous. I can almost imagine how angry Liu Ruyan's parents would be when others gossip about her, and how disappointed my parents would be, but he didn't seem to care. With this in mind, I suddenly didn't want to talk about it anymore. If you want a divorce, just go to the Civil Affairs Bureau. What's the big deal about bringing an outsider back? Will it embarrass everyone? The cell phone rang. Zhangchun, you changed the door lock password. What does that mean? It's a bit too much. No matter what, I'm still the mistress of this house. In fact, I didn't change the password. Liu Ruyan would enter it incorrectly. It's probably because I'm the one who opens and closes the door, and he seldom comes back, so he forgot. As for the key to the password lock, he had lost it somewhere a long time ago. I can only say that you deserve it. Bring your mistress boyfriend and let's talk outside. The neighbors around here will inevitably spread gossip. Liu's father and mother have never let me down. I don't want to spread the news that Liu Ruyan cheated. There's no need to embarrass them and I don't want to lose face. Unexpectedly, Liu Ruyan's reaction was even more excited than mine. Who are you talking about as the mistress? Keep your mouth shut. I can hear the sound from the receiver. I heard Zhao Shua's voice at the side. Why does this person speak so harshly? He has no manners at all. I didn't believe you when you said he had a bad temper before, but now it's true. Fortunately, Ruyan, you broke up with him, otherwise I don't know what will happen in the future. I almost laughed out of anger. You don't let others say what you did. You got the advantage and you're still ungrateful. You've taken all the benefits in the world. You've done shameless things and you're shameless. You're really invincible. Oh, this is the first time I've spoken to Liu Ruyan with thorns, without any concealment. He didn't seem to expect me to do this. He was a little stunned for a moment. I gave an address and then hung up the phone. People should really be selfish and don't have to worry about Liu Ruyan's feelings. Maintain the so-called gentleness and reply directly. Feels really good. The bar was playing soothing music. I sat in the corner by the window. When Liu Ruyan arrived, Zhao Shua followed. I don't know how he slandered me behind my back. After he sat down, he put on a defensive posture. The look on his face seemed to say to Ruyan, don't be afraid. If this scumbag dares to make a move, I will definitely protect you. Whether in love or after marriage, I have never asked Liu Ruyan to do any rough work. Washing clothes, cooking, and cleaning, all were done by me alone. Could it be that he secretly slandered me as a domestic violence man? It is ridiculous to seek moral peace of mind through such self-deception. Liu Ruyan took out the divorce agreement from her bag and said straight to the point. Sign it, we're over. I picked up the agreement and read it carefully. If I feel it is inappropriate, I can ask the lawyer to revise it, but don't delay the divorce any longer. Liu Ruyan's face was frosty, and she said in a cold voice, I've had enough of you. Do you want to talk about it again? I put down the agreement and said expressionlessly. With a sneer, Liu Ruyan frowned and said, it's time to do it. Now what else can we talk about, Zhangchun? Don't you have any dignity? I don't love you anymore. Please don't disturb my life anymore, Zhao Shu on the side echoed. Mr. Zhang, we are all men. It's not glorious to be cheated on. While speaking, I can sense the undisguised pride in his eyes, treating Liu Ruyan like a trophy worth showing off. Sign this agreement as soon as possible. Then when you go out in the future, you can still say that it was just your emotional discord that made you choose to divorce, and not for any other reason. He smiled, not to the point of making people laugh. After he finished speaking, Zhao Shu proudly kissed Liu Ruyan on the side of the face. Except for being shameless, I really don't know how to describe this couple of dogs and bitches. Liu Ruyan threw the pen in front of me and said impatiently, Zhangchun, I have no interest and no time to waste with you. Sign it quickly. It's good for both of us. If you file for divorce, then you'll have to divorce even if you want to. We have to divorce even if we don't want to. I took a sip of the liquor in the glass. Did you misunderstand? When did I say I didn't want a divorce? I put down the glass. The ruby-like crystal wine in the glass was slightly yellow. There was a small lamp on the corner of the table, emitting an orange-yellow glow. The light was dim. I stared at Liu Ruyan's face and couldn't find any trace of her past appearance. Time can change many things, so much so that a person can be completely changed. I sighed slightly. I opened the divorce agreement. Miss Liu, I just have objections to the content of the agreement. I want to talk about it again for this reason, although you can find a lawyer for this matter, but I still think it would be better for us to talk it over face to face. After a pause, I continued. Ever since the night of the Chinese Valentine's Day, when I saw you doing dirty things behind my back, I decided that we were over. How could I keep you with my face? It's just you being sentimental. These words made Liu Ruyan's face look a little ugly. After all, I have never ridiculed her like this before, and these are all facts, and she cannot refute them. She can only act calm as much as possible to maintain her dignity and pretend to sneer. Liu Ruyan's tone is not good, and she secretly hit back. I specially hired a lawyer. What meaning can your agreement have to you? Zhao Shu couldn't help but join in. He is a professional lawyer, but you, a legal illiterate, can still find loopholes. It's ridiculous. Don't make trouble for nothing. Sign it quickly so as not to look like a jumping clown. Hearing this, I couldn't help but look at the joke and secretly doubt Liu Ruyan's standard for choosing a partner. Can this kind of impatient man who can only show off himself really give her the future she wants? It is always said that love makes people blind, and women are extremely emotional creatures. Now it seems to be true. I raised my hand and pointed at the open agreement. I looked directly into Liu Ruyan's eyes and said, "The reason for our divorce is not an emotional breakdown, but your unilateral extramarital affair, so I do not agree with the 50-50 distribution of property. You can't have a single cent of our shared property and you must leave the house." When these words came out, Liu Ruyan and Zhao Shuo were stunned. They probably didn't expect that I would bring this up. Otherwise, how could they appear in front of me so openly? Thinking back to their intimate actions, I felt like laughing. There was a video recording of the doorbell at home, as well as the conversation process, which was all recorded by me. If a lawsuit is filed later, all of them can be used as ironclad evidence of Liu Ruyan's infidelity. For a man being cuckolded is humiliating. It is already a great shame. If this matter gets out, the comments will definitely not be good to hear. But no matter what, I can't accept that Liu Ruyan spends my money on other men. Since we got married, he spends whatever Liu Ruyan earns every month, brand name bags, lipsticks, and cosmetics. He always only cares about himself. But I have to bear the expenses of the whole family. Besides, I also deposit money into our savings account regularly as insurance for my retirement and old age. These are the savings that I have saved bit by myself. How can I let Liu Ruyan take half of it without any effort just because of a divorce agreement? There is no such good thing in the world. Liu Ruyan frowned and said in a deep voice, "Zhang Chan, what do you mean?" I pulled the corners of my mouth and smiled. Didn't I make it very clear? I can accept divorce, but you must leave the house with nothing. Seeing my firm attitude, his face became even uglier. You also know that I was just transferred to a new position last year. Everything is in the starting stage. Now I am not well off at all. We have been in relationship for so many years. Do you have to treat me like this? This matter involves principles and reality. I can't give in at all. But listening to Liu Ruyan's words, I couldn't help laughing out loud. What happened to our relationship over the years? We have come to the point of divorce. How you are doing is none of my business. Liu Ruyan was so angry that she couldn't speak. Zhao Shuo hugged her and said, "Ruyan, don't be angry. It's better not to have such a man without measure. From now on, I will be your guarantee. No matter what happens, I will take care of you." She made a solemn promise, but it was just empty talk. Everyone can say sweet words, but how many people can actually do it? But Liu Ruyan just fell for it. She blinked and held back her tears of grievance. "Ashuo, you are so nice." Liu Ruyan glared at me with extreme disgust. "You are right. It's better not to have such a man. What's the big deal about having some money? Don't be so self-righteous. I don't want him at all." When he said this, he probably didn't have thought about how much money he spent on me over the years of marriage. When we were talking about marriage, how could he have the nerve to mention the 660,000 yuan betrothal gift but didn't mention the dowry at all? With this conversation, I completely saw Liu Ruyan's character. When many things are stripped of the layer of sentimentality and linked to reality, only ugliness is left. Up to now, I'm just glad that we haven't had children. In this regard, I have to thank Liu Ruyan. No matter how our parents urged her, she always procrastinated, claiming that she was not mature enough and had no confidence to be a good mother. At that time, I found that Liu Ruyan was too playful, but I naively thought she was just playful, but ignored that she didn't consider the future at all, and didn't plan to give herself a stable life. Watching Liu Ruyan and Zhao Shuo, you and I love each other. My revengeful mentality took over and I couldn't help but say something to spoil the mood. "You are her guarantee. Do you know how much her lipstick costs? Do you get tired of it after a few days? Do you know how much her bag costs? Does she change it every few months? Do you know how much she earns every month after being transferred there? And how much subsidy she has to ask from me?" At this moment, Zhao Shuo's face was full of confusion, like an ignorant boy. After all, Liu Ruyan would not tell him about these expenses. When it comes to the past, I was the one who borne them. Why? Looking back now, I also find myself ridiculous. Is it worth it to pay so much for love? I soon got the answer to this question in my heart. Love is worth it, but Liu Ruyan is not. Zhao Shuo already seemed a little hesitant, and he wished he could take back what he had just said. After hearing what he said, Liu Ruyan's face was gloomy and about to drip water. She said in a deep voice, "Zhang Chan, do you find it interesting to say these things? Don't you just feel that I owe you? I will pay you back as much money as you want." I couldn't bear it anymore and pointed at his nose and shouted, "You just owe me, can you afford it? Go back and calculate every account carefully. How are you going to pay it back?" Liu Ruyan gritted her teeth and glared at me, took Zhao Shuo's hand, and left without saying a word. I sat in my seat, raised my glass and drank the wine, then lit a cigarette that I hadn't smoked for a long time, inhaled a mouthful of smoke into my lungs, and when I exhaled, I felt extremely refreshed. I really should thank Zhao Shuo for letting me see Liu Ruyan's true face. There is nothing to regret in drawing a clear line with such a woman. I just feel fortunate that she still has a few years of youth to squander. When she is old and ugly, what else can make her proud? Take care of yourself. The next morning, Liu's father called me and asked about the situation between Liu Ruyan and me. I didn't want to make him feel uncomfortable, so I just said that we were separated by two places and had emotional discord, so we finally came to the point of divorce. Liu's father sighed deeply and said to me, "Xiaochen, Dad knows that it has not been easy for you these years, and I feel guilty. All the burdens of Ruyan have to be carried by you alone." I felt complicated and replied, "Seriously, Dad, these are what I should bear as a husband. Since you have made up your mind, I won't say anything more. After a pause, Lu Fu said, but I still hope you can consider it carefully. After all, it's not easy to be in a relationship for so many years. He doesn't know the whole picture of the matter, so he will still persuade you, and I only know I will think about it again. Dad and Mom, take care of yourselves. This is probably the last time I will face Mr. and Mrs. Liu as a son-in-law. After hanging up the phone, the waves that had arisen still refused to subside. I still remember the first time Liu Ruyan brought me home. I was carrying large and small bags of gifts and I was sweating and stiff. Mother Liu entertained me warmly, and Lu Fu spoke to me earnestly, about many topics between men. I did not understand them at that time, but I kept every word in my heart. Fortunately, I will always remind myself in the future that every girl is the most beloved princess of her parents, and they deserve to be loved. Liu Ruyan is the same, but from now on, I will not be the one to accompany her. However, I will still hide his cheating for him. I don't want to play the role of what kind of good guy. It's just that Father and Mother Liu have been worthy of me, and have even taken good care of me over the years. So, as a junior, how can I have the nerve to embarrass them? It's not right in terms of emotion or reason. We can handle the matter between Liu Ruyan and me. It's ridiculous that when I was still considering the Liu family, I received a summons from the court. Liu Ruyan was dissatisfied with leaving the house and filed for divorce. On such a matter of principle, I certainly would not back down. I contacted a lawyer as soon as possible and showed all the evidence in my hands. The lawyer collected the information and assured me, Mr. Jiang, that these videos are enough to prove the fact that Ms. Liu cheated on her husband. This lawsuit will not be lost. You can leave it to me with confidence. Do you have any other requirements for the divorce judgment? So I talked to the lawyer about the relevant matters again. The moment I walked out of the law firm, I couldn't tell what I felt in my heart. I really couldn't understand why Liu Ruyan had to make things so embarrassing. The pedestrians entering the law firm had different expressions. Most of them were worried. I stood on the side of the road and muttered to myself, why bother? A few days passed, and it was the day of the court hearing. The lawyer sorted out all the information and went to the court with me. I saw Liu Ruyan again in the court. I hadn't seen her for a while. She looked very haggard. Even if she had put on makeup, she couldn't cover up the two big dark circles under her eyes and the fatigue on her face. Unexpectedly, Zhao Shua didn't come with him. Did they quarrel? No matter what, he is Liu Ruyan's now. Object, and Liu Ruyan and I were forced to divorce because of him. Considering all of Zhao Shua's behavior, he is obviously an unreliable and irresponsible man. I can vaguely guess something, but it has nothing to do with me. First, Liu Ruyan and his defense lawyer spoke up and told how difficult it was for him, and how much they needed to divide the marital property equally. But when my lawyer took out my bank deposit records, it showed how much I had contributed to this family. When he showed the evidence of Liu Ruyan's extramarital affair, the lawsuit was basically settled. When the judge sorted out everything, there was no doubt that I won the case. With such a result, Liu Ruyan's already haggard face turned even paler. She was sentenced to leave the house with nothing. After so many years of marriage and feelings, what happened? I got nothing, only time passed. At this point, I have nothing to say to her. I put away the relevant documents and walked out of the court. I told him to take good care of my parents, it's not easy for them. Then I was about to drive away. Just as I was about to close the door, I found Liu Ruyan chasing after me. I frowned and wondered if there was anything else. Liu Ruyan stood by the car, her hands subconsciously picking at the straps of her bag, looking a little embarrassed. She showed me a forced smile and asked, Jiang Chun, are you free? I thought about it and realized that I really didn't have any plans, so I answered truthfully that I had. What's wrong? Liu Ruyan forced a smile on her face, looking a little sad, and asked, can you take me around again? I wanted to refuse. I didn't want to have anything to do with him anymore. A failed marriage and I ended up like this. It was indeed an ugly way to end. Liu Ruyan looked into my eyes with moisture in her eyes, and said in a muffled voice, just consider it a farewell. I was stunned and fell silent. Yes, no matter how many years of relationship we have had, and how much we have given, from now on we will no longer be involved. Thinking of this, I was actually a little unable to come back to my senses. I just felt empty in my heart. The separation of adults often means a lifetime. Even if the way of separation is not decent, it does not prevent us from giving this relationship a proper farewell. Putting away my thoughts, I took a deep breath and said, let's get in the car. Where do you want to go? I asked Liu Ruyan in the passenger seat. He thought seriously for a while, then smiled bitterly and replied, I don't know. How about just taking a walk? I nodded and stepped on the accelerator. Along the way, Liu Ruyan looked at the scenery outside the car window, occasionally talking about something, all about memories of the past. For example, when passing by the entrance of a shopping mall, he would talk about what happened to us in this mall, which store we visited, which store we ate at, or which store we played in, some interesting or embarrassing things. It turned out that he remembered them all, but he hadn't talked about them for too long, so it was as if he had forgotten them. During the chat, I couldn't help but fall into reminiscence and respond with a smile. The relationship between us was no longer so sharp. At least many memories were only known to us, and only each other could tell about them in the whole world. We could still talk and laugh as if nothing had happened now, keeping decent and completing the farewell. Unknowingly, I drove to our high school, which is where Liu Ruyan and I met. After many years didn't come back, he renovated it. Just looking at the appearance, it is almost unrecognizable. What a big change, Liu Ruyan said with emotion. It is said that after we graduated, the school's plastic track was finally completed, and the desks and chairs of the whole school were replaced. I really envy our younger classmates. I looked at Liu Ruyan's profile, my eyes were quite complicated. To me at that time, she was the classmate with good grades and beautiful girl in the next class. She seemed to realize something, turned her head. Why are you staring at me? I touched my nose, changed the subject. Many schools are like this. Good things are always in the next class. After that I pushed open the car door, got out and went, "Let's go, I'm a little tired of driving." Liu Ruyan got out of the car, carrying the bag and followed. "Wait for me." We came to the small shop where we used to have lunch. The aunt is still the same auntie. Her smile was still friendly. I guess she didn't recognize us anymore. After all, there were so many students coming and going year after year. I ordered the food and sat at the table waiting. Liu Ruyan went up to greet me familiarly. "Auntie, it's been a long time since we last met. How come you don't look older?" Auntie was stunned and then laughed. "Are you a student of high school? Which class? What's your name?" Auntie may still remember it. Listening to their chat, I couldn't help but laugh. In the afternoon, Liu Ruyan and I visited many places. As the sun set and night fell, Liu Ruyan murmured with some regret, "Why is it so late? There are still many places we haven't been to." "Yes, there are still many places," I murmured. "Many things we only feel regretful after we lose them. And people always say cherish, but what does it mean to cherish? No matter how you treat it, time will always pass. I think enjoying the whole process with a normal heart is already cherishing." Liu Ruyan and I were both trapped in silence. The atmosphere in the car was not so heavy, but a kind of calm after the flowers and leaves have fallen. The night scene was passing by the window. It was not so clear now compared to the daytime. No matter how hard you look, you can only see a hazy scene of heavy traffic. I drove all the way and parked the car next to a slightly older residential area. When I arrived, Liu Ruyan sat quietly in the passenger seat for a while, then pushed the door and got out. She stood outside the car door, opened her mouth and seemed to want to say something, but swallowed the words on her lips. I knew what she wanted to ask and she also knew how I would answer. There are some things to say. It's better not to say anything. I looked at a house in the community with warm lights on. That was the home of Liu's father and mother. When Liu Ruyan goes back, she will probably explain the situation. Sighing slightly, I said to Liu Ruyan, "I didn't tell my parents about you. We divorced just because of emotional discord." Liu Ruyan was stunned for a moment, her eyes quickly turned red, her lips tightly pursed, trying hard to hold back tears, and choked up to say, "Thank you, you should go back early." After saying that, I rolled up the car window and left with Liu Ruyan's farewell. After passing the corner, I could no longer see his thin figure in the rearview mirror. I didn't let myself look back and kept moving forward. Some things are over when they're over. Since you have decided to move forward, you must never look back, because if you look back, there will be regrets. The whole text is over.